Hello everyone guys, Olga today with you. In my questionnaire on my channel I was asking which kind of videos you would like to see about Ukraine, UK, other topics, and a good part of the people, they said that they're interested in some points of UK videos. So here is one of my life, and I prefer to record it now because there is so many things which is very weird for me, but I see that I'm getting used to them fast. So if I will not talk about them now, I will later just forget that there was something that was surprising me, for example, and I will just get used to it, and that's all. So maybe this information could be interesting and useful for someone who is living here or planning to move. So there are a couple of things which I gather that it would be interesting to share with you, which I discover, and one of them is a TV licensing. TV licensing, this is something that I never would think that there is something like that. And I guess if there is somebody from UK watching me, they probably already understand what I'm talking about. But if somebody is not from UK, I will explain you how I see these things and what is it all about. So actually, since we moved to this house, to our own house, we start receiving always letters that there is a fine already on your house or something that, and you know, our house was totally empty. We didn't own TV at all, and even I'm not sure how the previous tenants did, they had any kind of TV here or not. So it was obviously that the letters which we are receiving is not really targeting us personally, but they just seem sending to our address to somebody who is previously living in this house. Anyway, so what we discovered about TV licensing, that in UK, every person who is watching any TV, if you want to watch any TV channel live on any kind of way, so it could be like satellite, or it could be, actually I'm not really sure how it could be, maybe antenna or something, even through the applications, if you have paid applications, because in Ukraine, for example, our all TV channels are free, but it's a bit later about that. So if you're watching it through even YouTube, but what I understand, it should be in YouTube, it should be live TV channels, not just live bloggers, for example. All these things require a TV licensing. The cost is, I guess, £160 per year, and you need it for every device. So for phone, for every TV that you have in your apartment, and any other device which will give you opportunity to watch TV channel, you should buy separate TV license for that. And they send you such letters warning that they will come and visit you on your address, and sometimes they are writing even the specific time when they will come and visit you, and it's all written in very aggressive way that first I was laughing so much because it was reminding me, in Ukraine we had some kind of scam regarding cable TV, that you didn't pay for cable TV even if you don't have cable at all physically in your house. Then now done, they were sending letters with kind of like jail pictures that we are done, we are coming to execute the order, you will be in jail if you will not pay your debt for the cable TV or something. So first I was thinking, this is something like that or what, because see, they are writing it that now my case is under investigation, and yeah, it's official notice from Cambridge Enforcement Division, and it all sounds, you know, very crazy. It has even a signature, so you can find it over there. And yeah, so at the end, when I'm talking about all that, when we start, why I was wondering why I need to pay, because, for example, I'm not watching British channels at all. The only thing which I have my parents who may watch Ukrainian TV, and Ukrainian TV in Ukraine is free, and we are not watching it for free, even we are watching it through paid application. So you have paid application where you pay for watching actually these channels. and the channels initially are free in Ukraine, so it's free of charge. So why I should pay for it £160? This is very weird for every TV, by the way. So later I start talking with my British friends here, and I understand that they have the biggest concern of those guys is watching BBC, because BBC, this is a British channel, and they are funded, as I understand, based on my friends, exactly based on such TV licenses. So it helps them to make individual programs independent, because they're funded by people through TV licenses. They're not funded by specific person who may want them to talk about something from their point of view. And here it's very interesting, because we have BBC Ukraine in Ukrainian language. I know that there is BBC in other countries. I cannot say about other countries, but I can say that for sure in Ukraine it is free and nobody asks you to pay for it. And I guess in many other countries it's the same. So actually British citizens, or like some people like to say British taxpayers, they have to pay for the TV license, mandatory, and this even with all these letters and threat. And I find in YouTube that those people really visiting houses and checking if you are watching TV channels, and especially BBC, and you didn't pay for your TV license, and you will have £1,000 fine. So actually all these people, British, they are paying for the TV licensing to license BBC, while actually all the world is watching BBC for free. So that's one thing which I discovered. That was interesting to know, and it's good to mention now, because later I will forget about that. So people suggest just go to their website, say I'm not watching any of your programs, and you can watch it, just record it in YouTube, but you cannot watch it live, and that's okay. But anyway, it's interesting thing to know that there is such things at all. Another thing I would like to mention about things in UK, I guess this would be very common in many other countries, that there is so many things coming by post. So I don't have it now, I actually threw it already, but sometimes I'm receiving so much like big pack of papers from government, which is some kind of sport department, and they just want to make you survey. And if you will finish the survey and you will send them this big pack of the papers, and they even put you the envelope and it's paid already how you can send it back to them, they will pay you even £5 for completing the survey. And I was thinking that, you know, they spend so much money on printing these things. They spent a lot of money on delivery into every house, and I'm not sure how much actually feedback they're getting. Besides that, they also want to pay £5 for each person who completed the survey, even if it would be for free. I guess I wonder if actually the feedback is at all covering the expenses. And I very often see some pamphlets about so many services in UK, especially about charity and all this kind of things. So I mean that they initially spending a lot of money, so it's not advertisement, it's not some commercial organization which can dedicate some kind of marketing budget, you can say, and this is different things. But no, this is people who ask to be for charity or anything else. They spend so much money on sending by post all these kind of things, and I wonder if it really cost the result which they are getting. So if you know any of these ideas, also please write me in the comments. It would be interesting to read for me and maybe for other people. Third thing which I still wondering, that everybody talk about tremendously rising the cost of living in UK. I can understand the things was cheaper, now they became more expensive, this could be fine. But very often I'm watching on TV, maybe I'm not so much aware of this British TV channels, or not British at all, who is friendly, who is actually pinpointing something bad. But very often I'm watching and they're talking that kids are starving and they don't have food to eat. And they are showing families who said that we are turning off electricity and we have no heating in the house because it is such expensive that we cannot afford it by any means. And I'm thinking that we are living actually in a 3-bedroom house now, and I see in general Ukrainians, they used to live in warmer things. We are used to dress much warmer, and we feel much more cold as a result. So our kids, even if you will notice, going out always with a lot of hats, scarf, and a lot of things, a lot of clothes, while I see British kids at the same time they're going sometimes in t-shirts on very light jackets. So I guess initially our people used to freeze more than locals. This is our problem. But anyway, it's because in the way how our lifestyle is going on. But anyway, so we as Ukrainians, and my family is all Ukrainian, and the house which we are renting is super tremendously bad for heating insulation. And I mean that whatever we are heating, if we will just stop heating, it's like immediately disappearing, and you feel that you never heated house at all. So it's really cold, and we run heating so much. And with our 3-bedroom house and constantly running heating every day almost, we have, not every day almost, I mean all the time almost, we almost don't turn it off because we feel cold. We pay something like £300 per month, and maybe this is a lot, but we are constantly running heating for the house, which is pretty big. And if you're talking about some smaller families who have smaller house, or the house is a bit better insulated, and plus the families by themselves don't feel so much cold, I don't know, I guess even the energy bill in the best case shouldn't increase, something like £200, plus government pay you some things extra to cover the bill. And if you officially don't earn enough, government will help you with some support. So how it can reach to the moment that the families with kids, especially that with kids, really, they can end up with the idea that they don't use electricity at home at all, and they're sitting in dark, and how they are not using heating at all, and they are freezing, but they cannot afford to heat the house even a little bit. I'm not really sure, because I don't know, but I see that you can make it happen. And even if you are British citizen, because they're talking about British, so for sure you have some minimal support from the government. If you are not earning enough money at all to cover your expenses, government will cover you so many expenses. So I'm wondering how this is happening. Is it just media trying to make the things looking such bad, or the things is really such bad, but we are somehow, I don't know, able to make it happen? I don't know. So that would be also interesting to hear from your point of view. And the last thing, which is actually wondering me in UK, since long time I was thinking about that, but finally I will talk about it, because I'm always forgetting to mention that. So something like since last 7 years, at least, or 8 even years, I guess, in Ukraine, we had a huge trend to make all your buildings more energy efficient. So our government got some loan from European Bank of Development and Reconstruction and Development to insulate all hospitals, schools, kind of communal buildings, not houses of people, but personally all these kind of like communal buildings, to replace windows from the wooden windows to PVC, right? I guess if it's correctly plastic or so, they are much better insulated. Plus to put insulation from outside as a foam or mineral fiber, usually it's foam because it's cheaper, to insulate houses and make them more energy efficient. And this is government, and government have some kind of loan with some kind of a good interest rate or whatever. Besides that, for population, we had a program from Ukraine, and I guess it was somehow financed also by European Bank of Development, that if you want to, you need to try to make yourself not dependent from the gas. So if you will buy any kind of what is it called, this heater which works on wood and all these pellets and all the things, if you want to take it as a loan, so if you want to buy it in cash, government don't pay you anything, but if you want to take it in a loan as a as a loan because you cannot afford to buy it, government was covering interest rate, and in this way encouraging people to replace heating. This was the first thing. Second thing, it was about windows also that you can get, and we was using also such kind of loan, something like 8 years back, because I didn't have enough money to replace the windows in my parents' apartment. But with this program, we had also, like, we got some for 2 years, some kind of loan, and the government was covering interest rate. So we replaced the windows, and in general, you know, in people's brain, the first thing, if they have a bit more money, this is replace all windows to PVC. And second thing, especially for people who are living in private houses, this is mostly villages. In apartments also somehow. This is second thing which they are thinking about since something like 7-8 years. This is to insulate their apartment or house. If house, this is for sure, because you can notice it more. With apartment, it's less, but you can also notice, and everybody talk that since you put insulation, since you put this foam, you will notice how much warmer became in apartment, how much less money you need to pay for heating. So with all that, while Ukraine is actually always behind some kind of European trends, I very wonder that in UK you can see majority of people is not even changing and replacing their wooden windows. They are not thinking about insulating houses. The houses, new built apartments, I see at least in Cambridge, they are all insulated already and with all the things set up. But if you will go for most of the housing, they have zero insulation. And again, the house, like for example, where we are living, I see the wall is so much slim. And in general, for sure, it's super bad. So whatever you are heating, it all disappearing. And I'm thinking that UK has much better climate than Ukraine. And if you will have smart insulation of the houses in this kind of countries, you may end up by not using heating at all, or you may need to use it in a very, very small level, and your house would be super warm. But why they are not doing that? Why it's at all not in people's minds? So it's totally not the first, not the second priority to replace windows, to do insulation. Even it can make the cost of heating decrease in a huge way. Still people seems not thinking about it, and they don't keep it as priority. So it would be interesting for me to know why. Maybe there are some other reasons why people don't do that, because while the cost of living increasing, and while so many people complain that they cannot heat house and they need to live in cold, why insulation is not the first thing which they are thinking about, because it can really help so much, and it doesn't cost a lot. If people in Ukrainian villages affording to insulate their houses, and you can find it that this is so much common thing, then I don't think that somebody in UK cannot afford to do that, even without help of the government, or the government should help and engage somehow. But even without help of the government, these things doesn't cost a lot. So why this is not happening? This is interesting for me. Or maybe in UK it really costs such huge cost that people not able to afford it compared to what people is doing in Ukraine. I don't know, but would be interesting to hear your ideas about that, because I'm a bit confused why such simple thing which can reduce your cost of heating tremendously, why it's not applied here in UK. Okay guys, thanks for watching this video. It was a bit long, but I tried to include a lot of interesting things which I noticed here in UK. Okay guys, love you all. Thanks for watching this video. Bye bye.